Hey folks, what's up? This is Evan from Stock Music Musician, and today I've got a really important lesson for you about music licensing. And this lesson is about knowing when to quit on a track, knowing when you've made the wrong type of song that is just not going to turn into a particularly licensable song. And if your song's not going to be licensable, you can still make it for your own pleasure, but do not think that it's a licensable song. And if you are really focused on growing your music licensing business, you need to know what songs to put aside. Maybe you can come back to them later in a personal capacity, and what songs are really worth your time, and focus on those so that you can get the placements you're looking for and grow your music licensing business and portfolio. And if that is something you're interested in, I've got a free 5-day crash course on music licensing. Click on the link down below in the description and it'll teach you all about how to get started with your music licensing. So what I want to do is play this track for you and give you a few reasons why I do not think I'm going to finish it. It's not mixed or anything like that, because it's not a song that I should finish, because it fails the stock music test on so many different ways. Before I play it, I do want to say that it doesn't really come down to genre per se, but there are certain things you would expect a stock song to have to do right, and this doesn't do those. So I'm going to play the song, about half the song, you'll get the idea from there, and then we'll talk about what those things are, and we'll talk about why this song isn't doing it, and why developing the discipline to abandon songs is one of the most important things you can do for music licensing. I believe it's in Silicon Valley where they have the motto, fail fast, for their startups, and if it's not going to work, just fail and start something new. And that should be your same approach to music licensing. If the song is a dud, just move on. It's, these aren't, at a certain point, music becomes, you can write songs from your heart and you can write songs from your mind, and a lot of what you're doing for stock music should be from up here and not from here, and so it shouldn't be that big of a deal to just move on to another song. So let's take a listen to the first half of this or so, and then we'll talk about it. So, not mixed, not polished, not anything, because I realized at this stage that it wasn't the right type of song. Before I go further, though, I'd like you to think to yourself, just take a minute, really say, why do you think somebody would or would not like to license this song? And you can leave it in the comments, because I'm interested in what you think on this as well. But I'm going to tell you why I think this isn't a licensable song. And I think music licensing should be a lot like the songs you license should be a lot like a high school English essay, where you've got a clear title and thesis statement, and everything you do is only about supporting that thesis statement. And if the thesis statement isn't clear and well developed, your song's not going to be good. And if you've got parts that don't aid in that, it's probably not going to be very licensable either. Now, how does that really apply to music? Well, with stock music, I think a song needs to have a very clear emotional tone and it needs to have a very clear vibe, and it cannot be middling, right? It can't have two emotions. It needs to have one very clear emotion. And so when we look at a song like this, I don't even know what emotion this would really be. It's sort of mournful, a little bittersweet maybe, melancholy, but not sad, wistful. It's hard. It's hard to describe what this is. I think in terms of vibe, it more or less hits in like the, 60s ballad type thing. It's got those sounds going on all right on the bass and the guitar, the arrangement. But in terms of emotional undertone, you don't really know where this song is or where it's going. A much better type of song would be to say like upbeat, happy folk song, right? If that's where your thesis statement is, then it'll be like dun 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 dun, like on acoustic or whatever. Or if it would be like, edgy hip hop orchestral song, would be like dun 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 dun. This is just kind of emotional mush, and emotional mush is not good for stock music, because you're like, unlike being this is whenever I wrote this song, right, it was like how I was feeling. Probably I was like doing it in early January 2022. Holidays are over. Days are still short and dark. A lot of snow or rain. Omicron is buzzing. So like, this is an accurate emotional way I was feeling. But at the same time, it's not like one of those clear emotional points. It's something in between. And for stock music, you need to be bolder and brighter, because with stock music, it's not about you as the artist expressing your heart. It's about creating a piece of quality music using your craftsmanship skills that another artist can use to help make their vision. And the only way they can find their, your music is by using keywords to search for them. And so if you don't fall within searchable keywords, then nobody's going to find your music. Or if you mislabel your song, like, people aren't going to buy it because they were looking for one thing and it was another. And so I don't know what emotion to use to describe this. And so, and also it's not really, it is even kind of two different emotions. If you listen, the verse is like kind of happy, and then the chorus is kind of sad, which is not appropriate. So let's just listen to that. And I'm not saying either part is bad, but those two parts can't be side by side. Maybe I could try and write another chorus to this. I mean, I could definitely do that. But overall, I just don't think there is, a desire or demand for music even like the first part. So I think I'm just going to put it on the back burner and write something else. I can write, I can come up with 4 ideas in a day. This took me 30, 40 minutes. I could do this 3 or 4 times, and one of those songs would absolutely be worth pursuing. Maybe someday down the road I'll come back to this. Or maybe, I can just extract the piano part, whatever, cannibalize this song in some way. But what I really want to emphasize is, as you get more experience, as you develop your sense of music licensing, being confident enough in your abilities as a songwriter to write a better song than the one that you're working on at the moment, and knowing when to step away. Which is different from being so close to your song and having to work on it for like 10 hours and having no idea if it's any better. That's a very different sense of what I'm talking about right here. Like, I like to make a bunch of demos, walk away from them for like a week, go back and see what my best ones are and work on those. And that's a really productive way of doing it, because you don't feel close. You don't even remember what the songs were half the time. If you do remember what a song is like a week later, then it's probably a good song worth working on. Like I said, if you want to get into music licensing or accelerate your music licensing, I've got a free 5-day music licensing crash course. The link is down below. I really hope to work with you and help you achieve your music licensing goals. And I would encourage you, as the first step, to abandon or put aside your less than great songs and work on new stuff that is more appropriate. Similarly, I think there's also actually one last point. Occasionally, you'll make a really good song, but your session will just be a mess. You're using the wrong plugins, or all of your takes were out of tune, or you would basically have to re-record the song from scratch to get the song back where it should be in terms of quality. And those can also be songs worth walking away from, because sometimes trying to remake a song is like a house of cards, and you move one thing and then everything just falls apart. So I think, music licensing is kind of like being a shark. You just got to keep moving forward to the next song and the next song and go from there.